A cool fact about this movie, you could say it helped win the Second World War. I said could. You could say. Greetings,
I'm Ediz.
And I'm Ben.
And we're here to bring you a movie reaction to the 6th animated Disney classic, which is Saludos Amigos.
So it's the first of the package films. We're in a new era. We're in a new way of life.
Why is it called package films?
Because they just got all these different shorts and just packaged them together to create a movie. If you're looking for one long plot, you're not going to find them in this era.
And there's no full movie.
So it's similar to Fantasia. All these different sections in one.
I did not know that.
Ah, spoilers?
What does Saludos mean? Greetings.
Wait. Google's just told us that Saludos means greetings. So let's just rewind a minute. Saludos.
I'm Ediz.
And I'm Ben. And we're watching...
Saludos Amigos.
Context for this movie is super important. So Europe's at war. America hasn't quite joined yet. America is a little bit frightened about the way all the politics and the wars are going in the world. They need to make sure they've got allies. South America are looking a bit shifty, politically speaking. So both the US and German government were trying to meet with countries like Brazil at the time, and they were like basically offering them stuff to join their side kind of thing. So the US government had an idea of, okay, they're our neighbors, we need to make sure they're on our side. So one of their ideas was Walt Disney was a very popular figure at the time.
Not.
Let's send him down there on like a goodwill trip to the ABCs. That's Argentina, Brazil, and Chile. Walt wasn't really a fan of just going around and shaking people's hands, so he said he didn't really want to do that. So then they suggested that he'd go there on a research trip to make some movies, and they would pay for it.
Who would?
The US government.
Right.
Now, what's important to know is the Walt Disney Company wasn't actually doing too well at the moment financially. He'd spent all of his money from Snow White, which made a lot of money, into making these brand new studios, which we got to see in The Reluctant Dragon. If you haven't seen our last movie reaction, check out that. Plug, plug, plug. So they're currently owing money to the bank. What's also important to know right now is, as discussed in our last movie reaction, the Walt Disney Studios were actually on strike.
Oh, yeah.
And all of these things combined meant that the prospect of going to South America on the government's money and getting away from all that actually ended up looking quite good to Walt Disney.
Fair play.
There's all your context. You ready to jump in?
Let's go.
Saludos Amigos. A fond greeting to you.
I feel like we're going to get some long lost Disney songs that no one knows in this.
Wilfred Jackson, isn't he one of the 9 old men?
Come on, Ediz. He's the person they modelled Chernobog on.
That's why I know it.
He made like some poses like,
Yeah.
whoa. You don't forget a name like Wilfred Jackson. Come
That's a good
on.
name.
With sincere appreciation for the courtesy and cooperation shown to us by the artists, musicians, and many friends in Latin America, Walt Disney.
Artists, musicians, and writers setting out for a trip through Latin America to find new personalities, music, and dances for their cartoon films.
Oh, they're telling us the actual story.
Adios, Hollywood, and saludos, amigos.
Are these actors? Or these actual
No,
artists?
these are the people.
You must meet it. Wake up memories.
3 days later, they glided into Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Then down to the Argentine, Buenos Aires.
What did the Germans do to get the South Americans on their side?
Not enough, apparently.
They weren't making movies.
Yeah, that's where they went wrong. They didn't make Disney cartoons.
Some flew over the Andes into Chile. The others went north to the Inca country, Bolivia, Peru, and Lake Titicaca.
I want to meet the person who named Lake Titicaca That's the best name for a lake ever.
I really want to go to Peru.
There's always plenty of color and excitement here on Market Day. The styles run to bright-colored clothes and conservative hats.
That's a look, that.
What's quite cool is you're quite interested in like South America, aren't you? Mm-hmm. So we're gonna get to see what South America was like in the 40s.
Wow.
Is that what you want from your Disney classics?
Apparently so.
Archival footage of South America in the 1940s?
Their music is strange and exotic.
Strange? To who?
Melodies handed down from their Inca ancestors.
Isn't Donald Duck in this movie?
Yes. I said that really weird. Yes. I doubted myself mid-yes. Yeah, he is.
Mickey Mouse?
No.
Just Donald Duck. Why?
No, there's other people as well.
Okay.
Seeing the land of the Incas through the eyes of a celebrated North American tourist.
It's a guy.
Lake Titicaca is approximately 13,000 feet above sea level. Approximately.
Is it all just educational?
No. To be honest, I don't remember it being like this much at all. I've only seen this film once.
Once?
This was I never had it on DVD. Out of all the Disney classics, this was the last one I ever watched.
Wow, so when did you watch this?
When Disney Plus came out. It was one of the first things I watched on Disney Plus because like, oh, finally I can watch it.
You don't know what's coming next?
No.
Wow, this is a first. Press play.
The llama, or llama, is an odd-looking individual with considerable personality.
I didn't realise there's that many llamas in South America.
That's where they're from.
Let's see how he responds to a few notes upscale. And downscale.
No way. That can't be real.
What's hard with like a documentary that's got animated sections, it's like, which bits are we believing is this is fact and which bit is like, well, that was some cartoon fun. Do you know what I mean?
And that's a very possible thing, I guess. Equestrian, eat your heart out.
Have you seen that clip of Snoop Dogg commentating
With somebody else?
with Kevin Hart, I think?
Yeah, I think I've seen it. It's
I'm
very
going to
good.
put them commentating that.
By the way, look at that horse.
Did you? Oh, the horse crip walking, cuz. You see that? On the set. That's gangsters of up. Hey! Oh, cuz. Oh, look at this, cuz.
Oh, come on, man.
This horse is off the chain. I gotta get this in a video, cuz.
Oh, you see? Play it one more time, man.
Gotta see that. The intro walk was
Play it one more
cold.
time. West Coast.
The swaying motion of the suspension bridge.
Is he going to control Donald?
How did he get back up?
He's a duck at the end of the day, isn't it? He can fly.
Ducks fly. They actually fly. You've seen a duck flying. You've got, what's that bird there? Oh, it's a duck.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone
Well, you hear
say
it.
that.
No, you hear it go. Wah, wah, wah,
Never
wah,
heard
wah.
anyone say that. No one's just, you never see a duck just flying in the air.
You're not going to the right parks, bro.
You genuinely thought the ducks can fly?
If you threw a stone at a duck, do you think it's just going to run away or do you think it's going to fly away?
No, but it's like chickens. They don't actually live off the floor. They can just like flap their wings a bit. Chickens don't fly.
But I be done seen about everything when I see
It's a duck.
The traveler should be cautioned against any reckless behavior at this high altitude. And above all, one should never lose one's temper.
You what?
What did you call me?
Can you understand?
I'll be honest, with Donald, I probably understand about 40% of what he says. Oh, I did not get windbag.
As he bids a fond farewell to the land of the Incas, Lake Titicaca.
Is that it?
That was Peru, I guess.
The flight across the Andes into Chile, over the highest mountains in America.
So we started at Peru.
We're now in Chile. We've got Brazil and Argentina.
Since no cameras are allowed here, the boys had to cover this from memory and sketches. First, a little plane began to take shape. All agreed that he had good screen possibilities, and before the plane set down at Santiago, his life story had begun.
Fun fact about this short, so this is the only short in this film where all the characters were made for this movie. So every other short has
The
like,
character we know.
yeah, like Donald Duck or
Spoilers.
other characters we might meet along the way.
Will I actually know them?
Yes.
Will I?
Yeah, I mean, they're not that exciting.
And the baby plane was a little boy plane named Pedro. Where is Pedro? Oh, there he is. He studied reading, skywriting, and arithmetic.
Planes in Chile can read and write.
You're learning a lot, aren't you?
Now remember, Pedro, the mama plane said, stay out of downdraft and keep your muffler on tight.
So do you genuinely think that the South Americans were like, this is a great movie?
I think it was more that Disney was such a huge company at the time that no one really expected them to be making movies about South America. So I think it was maybe quite flattering. It was quite cool for them to be making movies about their countries.
They
and
really
he
thought
would get
him making a lot of movies going to bring them on their side.
it worked.
Maybe it
These
wasn't.
movies helped win World War II. That's a fact.
That's not a fact.
Debatable.
So far, so good. Pedro was flying on top of the world when suddenly his first view of that towering monarch, Aconcagua.
Do you think that's the cousin of Long, Long Time Ago?
Lava Song. The Lava Song is iconic.
That is great.
I have a dream, I hope will.
In fact, on Spotify, I have a playlist with every Disney Classic song in order.
Check it out.
And that's one of the only songs I've put in that's not from a Disney Classic, because
Wow.
it's just a banger.
It is a banger.
When suddenly his first view of that towering monarch, Aconcagua.
Will send me someone to love her.
A thunderbolt.
Every movie.
Look out!
Is Pedro gonna survive?
Imagine if Pedro died.
I know you can make it.
Come on, Pedro.
Drop the mail. You've got to save yourself.
Can he hear him?
Not sure.
Just level off and head straight for home. He's out of gas.
It's our gas. This is dramatic.
Traumatic.
Pedro!
He's gone.
Poor little fellow. His first flight. It's too bad it had to end.
Damn.
I wasn't ready for these kind of emotions over a plane. Would you respect this more if it just ended with Pedro dying?
No, that's way too dark. It's Disney.
Pedro, Petey boy, are you all right?
He's alive.
Well, don't
Who'da
ask
thunk
me
it?
how he did it. And so the Papa plane, the Mama plane, and little Pedro flew happily ever after.
I'm waiting for the Disney pub quiz I do where Pedro the plane comes up. That has got to be the most obscure Disney character that's in like an animated classic, right?
Yeah. Or where did Pedro the plane travel to?
I was in, that's the question.
Yeah.
And what's the answer? We watched it 2 seconds ago and you've already forgotten. Oh, I was just thinking Chile. You're trying to think of the mountain.
Mountain,
A
yeah.
long, long time ago.
I know it was Chile. He's in Chile. He's in travel to Chile. He's from Chile.
Oh, it's a little bit chilly.
Sailing eastward from Chile, we crossed the Argentine Pampas,
What's new?
Buenos Aires.
stretching from the mountains to Buenos Aires, the third largest city in the Western Hemisphere.
Oh, we really slipped that fact in.
The third largest city in the Western Hemisphere.
You know, Argentina is the fourth biggest country in the world.
What, landmass?
Yeah. Google that, please. Because I met a guy in Portugal and he was saying he's from Argentina and he said it's the fourth biggest country in the world.
It's the fourth largest country in the Americas and the eighth largest country in the world.
Ah. Did you know it's the fourth largest country in the Americas?
This is the Plaza de Mayo, one of its
Looks fake.
delightful parks. The Teatro Colón
How few
Home of the
people are
opera.
there?
It looks so fake.
and the stately Congress buildings.
I bet
of
there's so many
Argentina's
more people
government.
there just on the daily these days.
That can't be what it's like at that time.
Well, it's funny you say that. So this film is actually credited as well as like changing the US's perception of what South America is like. Because I think at the time, they all just thought they were like peasants and like wearing traditional outfits all the time. They didn't realize they also had like cities and fashion and things like that. And I guess you were in that camp as well. You didn't expect it to look like this.
Never did you. Did
Yeah.
you?
Yes, I did actually. I'm very cultured.
No, you didn't.
But impressive too was the lure of the Pampas and the Argentine gaucho, as painted by F. Molina Campos.
So did Walt actually go?
Yeah, he wanted to get away from the strike.
How did the strike end?
Right, so yeah, he left and basically just left other people in charge of like dealing with them. And the lawyers or whoever was in charge basically favoured the people striking.
Was Walt annoyed?
I think the whole situation got him down. And I think from there on, he started focusing more on other things. He started making live action films. He started working on Disneyland. And actually, up to that point, animation had been everything for him. And I think this whole situation kind of made him...
But the situation was that he wasn't paying people enough money.
Yeah, he wasn't treating his animators like fairly. So yeah, it was his own doing, but I think up to then it had all been roses for him, and that kind of made him go, okay, his baby was no longer a baby. It could go and feed itself. And then he went and took over all the other industries instead. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
Sketching these paisanos in action was no easy job. But they did manage to get a good look at the gauchos' equipment. Soft horsehide boots. This garment's called a chiripa.
What did you call me?
Do you know what that just reminded me of?
That's so offensive. It's like he's trying to breakdance.
Yeah, like, what? What?
Howdy, strangers!
Here he
This
is.
colorful cowhand of the Great West has his counterpart in the South American gaucho.
They've kept the cigarette. I'm sure at some point they would have edited that out for like the DVD release or something. So it's interesting they popped it back in for Disney Plus.
Interesting choices.
It's wits in goofy smoke though, isn't it?
The cowboys of both Americas have much in common, although their costume differs in a few minor details. There's the saco, the tirador, the chiripa, and the panuela. Botas?
His feet were disgusting.
Ugh.
What's wrong with his toes? Why were they all crooked?
I'm sure I've seen Goofy's feet in another cartoon and they're just black, like his legs.
He's got man feet.
What is Goofy? Oh my gosh.
The gaucho's closest friend and inseparable companion is his horse, or pingo.
Aww.
Quickly they go.
Man and horse, moving as one, display a minimum of waist motion
Broke his back.
as the whirling bolas are unleashed.
Ooh.
A sad romantic ballad.
Yo soy la blanca paloma.
Who knew Goofy's voice was so luscious? I need to add this song onto my playlist.
Let us dance to the lively beat of the chacarera, the dance of the farmer's daughter. And El Malambo, a solo number in which the dancer swings out with utter abandon.
Thought his pants were going to come off then.
Here we leave him with warm and tender memories of his visit to the gay, romantic land of the gaucho. Hasta la vista! Adios, amigos!
So what do we think of that short? How are they comparing? We've had a plane, we've had a bit of Donald Duck riding a llama, we've had Goofy riding a horse.
I like Goofy and Donald Duck, ovs. But I liked Pedro the Plane.
It was more of a story, wasn't
Maybe
it?
Pedro the Plane should get more love. Like, why has he not got his own merch?
Right. Maybe he does. Maybe it's just not selling.
Maybe we should make some merch and send it to South America. There'll be quite a lot of South Americans watching this, I reckon.
Do you reckon?
Well, who else is going to know about this movie?
Right. Who else is going to do a reaction to this movie?
And now from the Pampas to Brazil and Rio de Janeiro. One of the best views of the city is from the top of Sugarloaf, overlooking Copacabana Beach, the playground. This is what can happen to a big city when a crowd of cartoonists are turned loose. Among the sketches was a promising actor, O Papagayo.
Have I seen this? Is he in Three Caballeros?
Yeah. So we're about to meet one of the Three Caballeros.
Oh.
Jose Carioca.
Is aren't the Caballeros Donald Duck?
Well, they're not all Donald Duck.
Ah.
There's three of them.
Ah.
You thought all three of them were Donald
I
Duck?
don't know, I hadn't really thought about it.
One's green and one's red.
The music of Brazil. A samba.
He does not look like he wants to be there. Hey, let's go, let's go. Oh, she loves the camera down there.
Singing, dancing, and celebrating. The spirit of the Mardi Gras and New Year's Eve rolled into one.
So we got the idea for a parade.
Disney probably pulled his influences
He's
from
stealing
everywhere.
everything.
No, being inspired by.
Parades in Disneyland is taken from Brazil. That makes so much sense.
One number stood out as a perfect background for the first Brazilian film. Aquarela do Brasil. A watercolor of Brazil.
A watercolor of Brazil.
This is their final section, I do believe. So It says there, Joe Carioca is voiced by Jose Oliveira. So he's someone they met out there on their trip. And so he not only voiced this character, but he also did the Portuguese dub for The Reluctant Dragon.
Oh, wow.
Which we just watched. So he's being used a lot.
Do you reckon he got paid? Or do you reckon he just got exposure?
Walt was a great man and he paid everyone very equally and fairly, okay? This is a tune. I remember this
Brush is
song.
very special.
Yeah, I remember this song being sick.
Is that a fly trap?
Oh, it's Donald Duck apparently.
Duck.
Here he comes.
Não, senhor. José Carioca, Rio de Janeiro, Brasil.
Have you ever heard of Jose Carioca before?
No.
So Joe Carioca in South America, I think particularly Brazil, is one of the most popular cartoon characters there. Still has comics all the time.
Had Disney been across America, like South America, did people know who he was?
Oh, yeah. Even before Snow White, Mickey Mouse and all those shorts made such an impact already. And then Snow White was just like history making, groundbreaking. So he was like one of the most famous people in the world by that point.
That's nuts.
So if you're interested, on Disney Plus, there's a whole documentary about it called Walt and El Grupo. It's not on UK Disney Plus, so I had to use like a VPN to get like the American one. But it showed like the whole tour, and they'd be showing up to places, and just the crowds would be like mobbing the streets. They'd go to a theater, and there's like kids have been let off school to like see him. He was a big deal.
Disney.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this meant a lot to them. Sometimes you just can't control the butt.
Saúde.
Now the hat, sir.
Muito obrigado. Now you have the spirit of the samba.
The
Copacabana.
Esse Brasil lindo e trigueiro.
The end of Saludos Amigos.
That was the last section was the best section.
Yeah, they definitely left the best of last, didn't they? Do you feel like you learned something about South America there?
I felt like loads.
What did you learn?
I learned that llamas originate in South America. Do they originate in South America?
So that was the first of the package era films, the wartime era films, and actually I'm quite excited moving forward because these aren't necessarily films that I've watched all the time.
So you feel like you're watching it for the first time?
Yeah, and as we were watching them, I was remembering some of the shorts that are in the future films. Some of them are great and some of them are not so great. So we're gonna have some hits, some misses.
Is that a great one?
This is one of my least favourite ones.
Okay.
And it wasn't too bad, right?
It was okay. I was a little bit bored sometimes.
Yeah.
But thanks for watching our Saludos Amigos movie reaction, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Toodles!
Bye.